welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we get to meet the new president of Eastern Nazarene College. Jack Connell is here. First, though, we'll check out the weather and the news for you this morning. Currently in Quincy, some sun and clouds out there. It's 31 degrees right now. Today will turn out partly sunny and quiet with highs in the upper 30s. It is the calm before the next snowstorm, unfortunately. Low about 30 degrees tonight. That sets the stage for a messy Tuesday. It'll start out with the snow probably through the midday hour, accumulating anywhere from 2 to 4 inches before a change over to sleet, eventually to rain tomorrow afternoon with a messy high into the mid-30s, down to 30 degrees again tomorrow night. Still some lingering snow squalls here on Wednesday with highs in the mid to upper 30s. And then look at Thursday. The bottom drops out. Highs on Thursday only in the low 20s, and it looks like the cold weather will continue for the rest of the week. Right now, partly cloudy, 31 degrees here in Quincy. In the news today, well, tonight the Quincy City Council will debate Mayor Thomas Koch's request for $32 million for the first phase of what would be a new Quincy police station on C Street. Now, the initial round of funding would be used to purchase some properties around the site, including the Stop and Shop gas station, Father Bill's homeless shelter, acquire the Quincy Animal Shelter, and some other properties on Broad and Field Streets. The funding would also pay for demolition costs and would set the stage for a new police station and a new 2-story parking garage. Now, the final cost estimates for a new station have not yet been provided. However, they could run over $100 million. The MBTA and Amazon are just two of the many companies that are interested in the former Lowe's home improvement store on the Bergen Parkway in Quincy. T spokesman Joe Pesatoro says officials are exploring the possibility of opening a facility to maintain 120 buses that are used in Quincy, Braintree, Weymouth, and Dorchester. The T would move its current bus garage on Hancock Street near Veterans Memorial Stadium to the new facility and possibly sell that old garage to the city. And Amazon reportedly likes the site for a new distribution center. And no formal plans have been filed with the city yet. Lowe's closed last year as part of a corporate restructuring. After 9 years in business, the property is owned by George Brewster of Brewster Ambulance Service. The new parking garage at the former Hancock parking lot in Quincy Center opens today. Officials say the 712-space parking garage will officially open at 4 o'clock this afternoon. The parking for hourly customers will be free until January 6th. After that, the rates will be $1 per hour for up to 6 hours. Rates then increase to $12 for 6 to 8 hours, and then $25 for over 8 hours. Officials say the jump in rates is to discourage all-day commuter parking. During the free period, overnight and all-day parking is by permits only. Now, some of the spaces will be reserved for tenants of the new Nova Residences apartments and the new Chestnut Place apartments that are currently under construction. Quincy police say they have taken 2 drug dealers off the streets recently. If officers say they observed what they believe to have been a drug transaction at a known drug house on Hudson Street. Police stopped the suspect's vehicle on the Southern Artery and seized what they say was a large quantity of the opioid fentanyl. 21-year-old Ludi Arias and 20-year-old Jordi Regalis Rivera, both from Roslindale, were taken into custody. Officers also seized a folding knife. Both suspects were released on bail following their arraignment in Quincy District Court. 30 living World War II veterans from Quincy were honored recently during a special ceremony that was held at Quincy High School on the 78th anniversary of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. Quincy Veteran Services Director George Nicholson told a packed auditorium that those of the greatest generation deserve the special praise.
This may be the last collective gathering of Quincy's living American history that we may have the good fortune to experience in our lifetimes. They're the last living legacy of the most extraordinary period in American and world history. And they're not comfortable with being considered warriors or heroes or with any other similar label that we might try to apply to them. Heroes to them are the compatriots who gave their lives for this country. They are known to us as relatives, friends, neighbors, and they're quite content in those categories. They are humble people who sincerely believe that they just did the job that needed to be done when that job needed to be done, and they accept no more credit or accolade than that. All that being said and recognized, we all know who they are, what they represent, and how treasured they all are to each of us. We gathered here today to convey to these men and women so much more than our physical presence in their honor can convey. We are an auditorium full of people who have benefited so immensely from what they did, preserved, and improved. We sit before them as living proof that their every effort and sacrifice in World War II was worth all that they contributed. We are their legacy to America, and we have an obligation to preserve that legacy.
Each veteran received a service medallion and a hat as a token of the city's appreciation. Some 8,200 Quincy residents fought in World War II. The 75th anniversary of the end of the war is next year. $10,000 was raised for the Cops for Kids with Cancer organization during this year's No Shave November at the Quincy Police Department. Officers were allowed to grow beards during the month of November to raise money for the group that provides special services for children with cancer. Last week, Quincy Police Chief Paul Keenan joined Captains Richard McCusker and John Steele and Officer Greg Hartnett in presenting a check to Cops for Kids with Cancer's president, Helena Rafferty. On December 1st, officers all participated in a shave-off at Alda Barbershop. They raised even more money for the organization then. Now that you're up to date with weather and news, let's check out our programming lineup for later on today here on Quincy Access Television. I'm currently in Quincy today at 5 o'clock. Then at 6 p.m., Good Deeds, a quarterly update from the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. Currently in Quincy, The Interviews at 6:30. We feature Fox Rock Properties of Quincy. Then at 7 o'clock, Navigate Your Financial Future, Episode 1.
Thank you for
Stop
tuning
Healthcare Violence,
My name is
Episode
Sheila
1,
Wilson.
tonight at
I am a
7:35 on
registered
Channel
nurse,
8.
And I'm president of Stop Healthcare Violence.
At 8 o'clock, this year's Mayor's Good Scout Breakfast. The Forgotten People from December 2nd, tonight at 9 o'clock. 10 o'clock and At the Library concert series. Tonight it's with Haley Hewitt. Democracy Now! Tonight at 11 on Channel 8. Please watch Channel 9 every day. You'll learn about Quincy City Department's different committee activities. Starts at 5:30 with Quincy in Focus. Crime Watch at 6 p.m. with Quincy Police Lieutenant Dan Minton. Topic tonight, scenarios. And then the City Council meeting is live from City Hall tonight beginning at 6:30. Get a complete program schedule on our website. Just go to qatv.org and click on Program Schedule. And as always, we'd like to ask you to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Don't forget, too, you can check out our weekly ad in the Quincy Sun. Coming up, we take a look at a few of the current events and activities that are featured on Channel 8 on our electronic bulletin board for your information. Stay tuned. We're back with you in just 1 minute. back. Here is a check of some of the current events and activities that we're featuring right now in our electronic bulletin board on Channel 8 for you to know about, like the Quincy Parks Department's Environmental Treasures Program. They will present a winter solstice stroll this coming Saturday. Just meet at Fenno Street and Andrews Road at 2 o'clock. You'll enjoy a slow stroll on the shortest day and the longest night of the year along the Salt Marsh Trail. You should wear proper footwear and clothing, of course. Call 617-472-0799 if you'd like to get more information. Don't forget the Quincy Chamber of Commerce Winter Market is open on select days through December 22nd at 1469 Hancock Street, Quincy Center. Used to be Child World years ago. You'll find items from local artisans. Just visit their website, thequincychamber.com, for all the details. And it's fine free at the Thomas Crane Public Library right through January 3rd as their holiday gift to you. You can return all your overdue materials with no fines, plus all previous overdue charges will also be forgiven, but you will still be charged for lost or damaged items. And letters to Santa can be dropped off at that special mailbox at the Hancock Adams Common in Quincy Center. No postage necessary right through the end of this week. And if you have an event or an activity you'd like to promote, visit our website, qatv.org. Just download a bulletin board request form, fill it out, and send it in. We'll put your message up here on Channel 8 too. Coming up, we get to meet the new president of Eastern Nazarene College. The Reverend Dr. Jack Connell is here, and that's next. Welcome back. Eastern Nazarene College here in Quincy is celebrating a century here in 2019, 100 years old. They're also celebrating the recent inauguration of their 14th president, the Reverend Dr. Jack Connell, and he is here now to chat with you and chat with us and give us a little bit of insight into his background and his vision for the future. So, Reverend, nice to meet you, first of all.
Thank you, Joe. It's a pleasure to be with you. Appreciate the invitation, and
Likewise.
Merry Christmas.
No, it's yes, happy holidays to you and your family and everybody at ENC as well. I know it's a very important time of year, certainly, for folks who study that faith and believe in that. So we should mention, too, that ENC, although it is a Nazarene-based curriculum, it's open to everyone, all faiths. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. We do require our employees to be a part of the Christian tradition, but we are open to students from all faith backgrounds or no faith backgrounds. It's a very inclusive, welcoming environment. Right. So we welcome everyone there.
As I mentioned, it's 100 years old here in Quincy, but it's even older than that and is a foundation, right?
Yes, 119 years old in its history. It was founded in upstate New York, near where I'm from, actually, near Albany, New York, and then spent a few years in Rhode Island, and then moved to Quincy in 1919, 100 years ago. Interestingly, because they wanted to be near, they wanted to send an important signal about the importance of academic quality, and they knew that Boston, or Greater Boston, was the hub of higher education and wanted to be near Harvard.
Okay.
And so that's why part of why they chose Quincy 100 years ago. And we've been proud to be a part of this community for a century now.
Interesting. So you mentioned you're from upstate New York. What drew you to Quincy?
Well, I am from the Rochester, New York area, upstate New York originally. Whenever I say that, I feel I should quickly mention, though, that I am a longtime and genuine fan of Boston sports teams. People get concerned about that.
Okay. We don't have to lock,
we don't have to.
Don't lock the doors.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I was serving as the provost at my alma mater, a school named Houghton College in upstate New York, and fully expected that I would stay there for the rest of my career and presumably the rest of my life. But I became aware of this opportunity here in Quincy at Eastern Nazarene College, and as I learned more about the school, I became intrigued, and over the course of several months, my wife Wendy and I made the decision to accept the invitation to come and serve as president.
Okay.
I was attracted by the remarkable history of the college, the powerful academic mission of combining the best in education, high quality academic experience, and yet at the same time a high quality formational experience in terms of faith and spirituality and Christianity. That combination is a pretty powerful one, I think, and so I was attracted to that. And this area, the Boston area, Quincy, just a wonderful, wonderful community. We've had the privilege of vacationing here a few times over the years.
Oh, really? Okay.
And now to live here, I'm pretty regularly pinching myself at
Is that
living in
right?
such a great city here in Quincy and then in the Boston area as
Yeah.
well. So.
Were you surprised at your reaction? You know, when you said, "Wow, this opportunity," did you ever think that this would come around in your life?
No,
Yeah.
I fully expected that I would stay in upstate New York.
Yeah.
We've lived there. My wife is from there as well.
Okay.
We've been there essentially our whole lives. But I was really captured by this college in Quincy and its history, its mission, the warmth of the community there, the very special people who work there and serve there. I had the privilege of meeting some of the students in the search process. I was so captured by them. And so my wife and I really felt that a lot of things were aligning for this to be the next chapter of our lives. And so very surprised, yes,
Yeah.
did not see this coming. Sometimes people suggest that perhaps a college presidency is the culmination of some grand career plan. My response is no, this is actually an interruption of
Yeah, okay.
probably a career plan for me. This isn't something I really saw coming. But now that we're here, I'm so grateful by the opportunity and the warm welcome that I've received from so many.
Well, you have an interesting background, not only in education and business administration, but also in theology. And,
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yes, I was a pastor
Right.
for 20 years. It's sort of the family business. I'm the
Okay.
son of a pastor and the
Okay.
grandson of a pastor, so I had the privilege of serving in local church ministry for about 20 years. But for a variety of reasons, I felt that a move into higher education, Christian higher education, would be an appropriate next step for me. And I wanted to get into theological education. I wanted to be a part of training and resourcing new pastors. And so that was my initial step into higher education. I
Okay.
worked in theological seminaries for about 3 years, but then had a variety of other opportunities to move into some advancement work, some fundraising, alumni relations. And then a few years ago, my alma mater called me to be the provost, the chief academic officer there. And so it's a bit of a varied background that has led me
Yeah.
to this role, but one that I hope has positioned me well for the diverse responsibilities that are on the desk of a college president.
Well, you probably thought the provost position would be kind of where you
Right.
you pinnacled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I loved that position. I loved being at my alma mater. I
Right.
loved being close to home. But Eastern Nazarene College really captured my imagination. The opportunities that I believe are here for a college like that in this rapidly growing community, it just seemed that this was an opportune moment for us to make a transition.
So what's kind of your, I guess, initial assessment of Eastern Nazarene College? You know, in first glance, what areas did you see as strengths, and are there areas that you'd like to build upon?
Yeah, great question. Like a lot of new presidents would, or probably every new college president, particularly one who has no previous connection to the institution,
yeah.
I spent a lot of the time of my first 6 months doing listening and learning. I met individually with each member of the board, with each employee, with small groups of alumni and students, just community leaders here in Quincy, asking that sort of question of people. What do you see as the strengths? What are your hopes for the future? What are the gaps that you hope we
Right.
can address? And all of that sort of emerged together into a strategic plan that our Board of Trustees adopted just a couple of months ago.
okay.
So my assessment is really great academic strength, a wonderfully multicultural student body, which I think is a great gift to this increasingly diverse community here. Very strong support, almost rabid, passionate support from alumni and church constituencies. Those who have graduated from Eastern Nazarene College love the place and give great credit to the college for the ways in which it shaped their lives and helped position them for what they're currently doing in their careers or in their families, in their church,
Right.
in their life. So there's a real built-up reservoir of goodwill, I would say, with
Okay.
our alumni and church constituents who love and support the school. So lots of assets, including this, again, the location being near Boston, which provides so many educational and cultural and historical and arts opportunities for our students, faculty, employment opportunities, internship opportunities, All of that is present in Quincy as well.
Right.
So wonderful location. And we like to say the shore is a half-mile away too.
There's that.
That's not a bad thing for
Right.
prospective students. So those would be some assets. I think the greatest challenge that Eastern Nazarene College is currently facing is probably related to enrollment, and we're not remotely alone in this. I mean,
Right.
like a lot of small, private, liberal arts, particularly faith-based schools in the Northeast, there are a lot of headwinds for us to be facing into.
Some have closed,
and
as
so
you're well aware. Yeah.
right. And so those sobering realities are sobering for Eastern Nazarene College as well. So, I mean, we're in an okay place from an enrollment perspective.
Okay.
We have about 750 to 800 students. But I think for us to optimally serve the community and to serve our students, we'd like to be closer to about 1,000 students.
Okay.
So I would say that our top priority over the next 3 to 4 years is to turn that trajectory northward
Sure.
in terms of enrollment. That's
Okay.
probably the greatest need that we have. How?
How do you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I know we were talking before the program that there really is not an online curriculum right now at ENC. I'm guessing that would be one avenue.
Right. That is one key piece of our future, I think. We do currently have online courses
Right.
in some of our programs, but we do not have any fully online programs. And that really limits our ability to provide access and opportunity
Sure.
to vast numbers of students and prospective students. So one of the key items in that strategic plan I mentioned earlier is that over the next 2 to 3 years, hopefully, we will begin to build some fully online programs that I think will help us serve our community and our region more effectively,
Okay.
and also help us build enrollment. I think we also need, and probably every college says this, but one of the things I'm learning as I get acquainted with the Quincy area, talk to community leaders, is that I think the college can do a better job of telling its story. One of the phrases I keep hearing, which is a little bit of a mixed blessing, is this idea that Eastern Nazarene College is sort of a hidden gem.
Yep.
So love the gem part,
Right.
not so excited about the hidden part. And so we're putting teams of people together and having conversations about how do we in fact tell our story a little bit better, how do we expand and enhance our brand both in the Quincy area, throughout the Boston area, and New England. So
Right.
those would be a couple dimensions, I think,
Okay.
of ways in which we want to grow enrollment. I guess I would mention just one more,
Please.
which is that, of course, in this day and age, prospective students and families are looking at colleges, of course, but they're more specifically looking at academic programs. They want
Right.
to study engineering or biology or psychology or business, whatever the unique interests and passions are of that prospective student. So we need to conduct and are in the process of conducting kind of a review of our portfolio of academic
Yes.
programs to identify new program opportunities that we might want to build that would be both consistent with our mission and our historic strengths, and yet also in demand in the marketplace.
Yeah.
And so we need to probably add a few more, those of us in education don't like this language sometimes, but a few more products to our shelf, if you
Well-
will, in terms of academic programs
Yeah.
that we need to be selling.
It's a challenge I think most liberal arts schools face,
Yeah.
you know, not just ENC, but in general. You know, what is the value of a liberal arts degree
Yeah.
these days in this era of high technology and artificial intelligence, you know, and
Right.
and automation? Where does the future go for a school
Right.
that's 100 years old, right? How do you stay
Right.
relevant?
That's right. It's an important question in the marketplace. It's a
Right.
question that prospective families are asking because there is greater concern around, of course, the costs of higher education, affordability, indebtedness. All of that leads to the question of, at the end of 4 years or 5 years, I want to make sure that Billy and Sally isn't back on the couch in the basement,
That's right.
as we say.
That's right,
Want them
yeah.
to be in grad school or in a profession. How does Eastern Nazarene College help make that happen?
Right.
And one of the dimensions that I love about our mission is that we are unabashedly a liberal arts
Right.
college, but at the same time, we're not at all shy or ashamed of the importance of preparing our students for the marketplace.
Right.
And I don't see those really in tension with one another. In fact, I think they support and strengthen one another.
Okay.
You may be familiar with, I mentioned in my inaugural address a few weeks ago, there's a book called Range, out by David Epstein in the last year or so, that talks about the fact that the most employers, the most compelling preparation for employment in today's culture, today's world, is in fact a liberal arts education, because it provides broad broad-based understanding of the world, of culture, of disciplines, because most of the problems and challenges we're facing in our world today, of course, they're complex, they're interdisciplinary, and so employers want people who have both subject matter expertise and a broad range of understanding. And I think Eastern Nazarene College does a really fine job of providing that.
Well, the kind of the slogan, I guess, or catchphrase, celebrating the century and forging the future.
Right,
Yeah, so
right.
you're part of the forging part.
Well, I'm one small part of
Yeah.
it. Everyone who is a stakeholder in the college has been a part over this celebration of 100 years in Quincy and this leadership transition to engage in these really important conversations about who are we now at the 100-year mark and who do we believe we need to be to serve God and the church and the world and this community most effectively in the next 100 years. And I think we're really well positioned to do that.
Well, we hope we've helped you get the message out a little bit here, and I want to thank you for your time, and please consider it an open invitation. We'd love to have you back.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been a delight to speak with you.
Great.
Appreciate it,
You're
John.
very welcome. Just enough time to recap the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. Kind of what you see is what you get. It's the calm before the storm, some sun and clouds, around 40 degrees this afternoon. Things start to change tomorrow. We've got snow. It'll eventually change over to rain, maybe 3 or 4 inches before it does so. Still kind of messy on Wednesday, some snow showers, and then look at Thursday, bitter cold moving in, so be prepared for that. Thanks again to Jack Connell for joining us from Eastern Nazarene College.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Thank you to our crew, and thank you for watching. Friday at 11:30, the new interim president of Quincy College here on another edition of Currently in Quincy. We'll see you then.